Yo, Haven, what's good, man? What's good? Grand Rising Supreme Shining, wherever you at in the world. I hope my shirt, me not having a shirt, doesn't bother you. It is very hot in my room, so pardon I in advance. If you're new to the channel, like, comment, share, subscribe, because they suppressing me. If you've been here from the beginning, you know what's up. I send deep divine abundance, balance, harmony, love, prosperity, strength, and unity. You know what's up, Haven. In this video, we'll be looking at ASHAYANA DEANE TikToks that will raise our frequency and vibration. Let's get right into it, Haven. All right, so look, Haven, the reason why I didn't post in the past rotation, in the previous rotation, even while I'm posting so late in this rotation, is because, like I said, I ordered some things that TYJ contributed to. You get what I'm saying? They showed me some love on the Cash App. If you want to do the same, hit the description box. The links is in the description box, as well as the about on my channel. Anyhow, I only have one package so far. I was waiting on the other one to get here, but I guess it's not gonna get hit until the next rotation. So anyway, here's one. I'm gonna read it. TYJ Plummet, thank you for contributing to the foundation. You know what's up. Anyone else want to contribute to the foundation and my well-being? Check out the links in the description or the about tab on my channel. If you sow a seed with me, may it be returned 1,000-fold. Abundance, balance, harmony, love, prosperity, strength, and unity 1,000-fold. Anyhow, let me read this before we get into the video. Legend of the Dreamcatcher. This is an authentic dream catcher. Real dream catcher right here. Native Americans of the Great Plains believed the air is filled with both good and bad dreams. According to legend, the good dreams pass through the center hole to the sleeping person. The bad dreams are trapped in the web, where they perish in the light of dawn. Historically, dream catchers were hung in the teepee or lodge and on a baby's cradle board. So, great gratitude and thanks once again, TYJ Plumbing. As I said, our crown chakra is activating. The dream realm is really intense and vivid. So, I feel like this was needed. You know what I'm saying? Great gratitude and thanks. Now, let's press play on the video and get right into it. The next package should be here in the next rotation, and we'll see it then. At the exact moment of conception, when the sperm meets the egg, there is a flash of light.
So this is the documented moment of conception.
I'm trying things a little differently, so I'm not tugging on the wire. So I'm not tugging on the wire of the headphones, since I get my left ear on the headset blew out. I'm gonna get a new headset soon. You know, we're manifesting that. Anyhow, for the most part, this is new. So let me know if I'm saying new because I've never done this. I've never plugged headphones into this microphone. So if the audio is a little low, pardon me. Next video will be better. But let me know how's the audio.
Poof of light that comes off of it. Scientists are studying this and they're looking at it and they're like, okay, well, it looks like it's a release of zinc, a burst of zinc that comes off the egg, and it creates this appearance. But any way you slice it, they can't explain away that light happens when life happens. Isn't that amazing? Light happens when life happens. So this is the documented.
The mind is a very powerful thing. We forgot that as a race, and we're relearning it in these times.
It's not clear enough for me.
The mind is composed of particuli. When you think a thought, you are making a particuli pattern, and you are plugging it into other patterns out here. Where does a thought go after you think it? It goes several places. It downscales, it slows in vibration, and it ends up out here someplace in manifest reality. We won't get heavily into that right now, but the most
ago, there is still things going on in here. 11, 8 through 9, 2016, Mug 75, the TJ1 firestorm. There's something on the planet that's part of the inorganic Metatronic matrix here. It's very ancient. It's over 4 billion years old, I believe. It's called the Theoseed. It links us to the moon in a unnatural way, and it has to do with what's called the synestia theory of how the moon was formed and that kind of thing way back. So this this Theoseed does not belong here. If it activates, it creates, it activates a set of...
I'm gonna turn it up in the In the video editor. I got y'all.
Of energy vortices that link the planet and the moon into a Vesica Pisces harness, a Vesica Fermi-Fall harness, and progressively pulls them together. It would give the scenario of eventually the moon smashing into the earth, but between the moon and the earth there is a black hole, a small one, that leads into the parallel system, and they have opened that and began the process of the sixth extinction by way of the Thea program. That is a Fatally program. So when we were in 11 of 2016, that is when they bring progressively dark flowering things ever since the cycle before, directly across the cycle before. So by 11 of 2016, we had, here's where they started a war coup here, the silent war. Didn't see it here is out manifesting itself outward into the TJ1 firestorm. TJ equals trumpets and Jehovian seals, because they're connected. We'll look at that in a minute. And that's when we started on this series of the firestorms coming once per year. Once every year there's a firestorm. But it also triggered, that is what triggered the RRR5 reclamation cycle and our Urara awakening. What this looked like on the surface, like in 3D, was very, very strange. When it came to our recent, then 2016 presidential elections, they were fixed, but by the Fatally. And the funny thing was, it didn't really much matter who you voted for, because you had the UIR and the Green Dragon crew that had defected from the Treaty of Albion with the Guardians, and you had the Fatally that took over the Red-White Dragon grids. The Red-White Dragon grids are the worst ones, but there are green Fatally as well that side with the Anunnaki side. It's basically a division, core division between Drak race lines and Anunnaki ones, and some of them have mixed. There's many mixed lines in between. That's a bit of Anunnaki and a bit of Drak put together in various combinations, and they fall in the gray space between the two. So you had a choice in that election if you were an American. Either pick the UIR Fatally side, Green Dragon Fatally, or you pick the Red Dragon Fatally. Good luck with that. Let's just say the Green Dragons lost badly because it was fixed by the higher up levels of the White Dragon Fatally. So, I remember watching on TV that election, and I've kept quiet about this since 2016.
Hold on, I'm gonna pause the video, Haven. I'll be back. The package is here. Alright, Haven, we're gonna do this properly. We got our Palo Santo going. You know what I'm saying? Got our Palo Santo going. We're gonna clear the energy in the room. I give grace, gratitude, and thanks to all beings and energies, including the crystals that work with me, through me, beside me, in benevolence. Source, the Most High. The Divine Feminine, the Divine Masculine, Mother and Father. The Elohai, the Sarafai, the Braharama, the Emerald Covenant. The Emerald Covenant Treaty. The Diamond Order, the Diamond Sun. The Gold Order, the Gold Sun. The Amethyst Order, the Emerald Order. My benevolent ancestors, spirit guides, cosmic ancestors, spirit team, spirit family, cosmic family, soul tribe, guardian angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, in benevolence. I give grace, gratitude, and thanks as you assist me in clearing the energy as we experience these planetary changes. I release all blockages in my path that is keeping me tethered to the 3D, Haven. I reclaim all my energy that no longer... Wait. Let's rephrase that. I reclaim my energy from any and everything that no longer serves me the highest good. Once again, TYJ Plumbing, grace, gratitude, and thanks. Anyone who sows seed with me, may it be returned thousandfold. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, as we got this Palo Santo burning, setting the tone for the atmosphere, we got the dream catcher. Yes, indeed. We got the dream catcher. We also have a feng shui, if I'm saying it properly. Gong. A table gong. You know, I don't got much space in here, but Now we can clear the energy for real, Haven. Let's give it a go. Give it a go, Haven. See what we got. I cleanse the energy in my room and give grace, gratitude, and thanks to be a part of this experience. Inhale, exhale with a sigh. Now for one single blow, one final cycle. May the energy in the atmosphere be cleansed. May we continue to stay on a high vibration and a high frequency in benevolence. Praise God and thanks to all beings and energies, including the crystals that work with me, through me, and beside me in benevolence. I ran it back, Haven. So we're going to take it from the top on this clip. Let's get it.
There are still things going on in here. 11/8/9/2016, Mug 75, the TJ1 firestorm. There's something on the planet that's part of the inorganic Metatronic matrix here that's very, very ancient. It's over 4 billion years old, I believe. It's called the Theia seed. It links us to the moon in an unnatural way, and it has to do with what's called the synestia theory of how the moon was formed and that kind of thing way back. So this Theia seed does not belong here. If it activates, it activates a set of energy vortices that link the planet and the moon into a Vesica Pisces harness, a Vesica Fermi-Fall harness, and progressively pulls them together. It would give the scenario of eventually the moon smashing into the earth, but between the moon and the earth there is a black hole, a small one, that leads into the parallel system, and they have opened that and began the process of the sixth extinction by way of the Theia program. That is a Fatally program. So when we were in 11/2016, that is when they've been progressively dark flowering things ever since the cycle before, directly across the cycle before. So by 11/2016, here's where they started a war coup here, the silent war. Didn't see it here, is out manifesting itself outward into the TJ1 firestorm. TJ equals trumpets and Jehovian seals, because they're connected. We'll look at that in a minute. And that's when we started on this series of the firestorms coming once per year. Once every year there's a firestorm. But it also triggered, that is what triggered the RRR5 reclamation cycle and our Urara awakening. What this looked like on the surface, like in 3D, was very, very strange. When it came to our recent, then 2016 presidential elections, they were fixed, but by the Fatally. And the funny thing was, it didn't really much matter who you voted for, because you had the UIR and the Green Dragon crew that had defected from the Treaty of Albion with the Guardians, and you had the Fatally that took over the Red-White Dragon grids. The Red-White Dragon grids are the worst ones, but there are green Fatally as well that side with the Anunnaki side. It's basically a core division between Drak race lines and Anunnaki ones, and some of them have mixed. There's many mixed lines in between. It's a bit of Anunnaki and a bit of Drak put together in various combinations, and they fall in the gray space between the two. So you had a choice in that election if you were an American. Either pick the UIR Fatally side, Green Dragon Fatally, or you pick the Red Dragon Fatally. Good luck with that. Let's just say the Green Dragons lost badly because it was fixed by the higher up levels of the White Dragon Fatally. So I remember watching on TV that election, and I've kept quiet about this since 2016, but I watched, and the frequency that came through the television It was bad enough just it was coming through the air, but even through the television, it was nauseating. It was bone chilling. It was almost like it made your bone marrow want to throw up. It was the most horrible frequency I had ever felt. And I was just amazed. Now, I didn't vote for who won, and I've only voted twice in my entire life because I just not a political person down here. I spent most of my time following the politics vertically, but the vertical politics is really in our face right now. And the problems we are having right now, I mean, some people think that, like, make America great again, like, great idea. It depends. It's not about the figurehead that serves either side. It's about the agenda that's behind them. Half the time, the figureheads don't even know. If you have a group of dark flower people on either side, it can be the green dragon side or it can be the red-white dragon side, they'll have figureheads that are like the face of them, but they're actually representing a whole crew, and that's just like the front man in a band. So it's not about hating or blaming or pointing fingers at any particular persons. I think it's kind of very bizarre, just sometimes how the words work out with the 7 trumpets that we've been talking about ever since the Voyagers Volume 2 came out in like 2001. And what's happening right now in our politics. I won't go further than that, at least not right now. But I wanted to let you know that some of the things that are happening, they go back to this progression of events that have happened in our recent SAC cycles that started here with fatally covert invasions that progressively have manifested into what we're seeing right in our faces, not just in the little core shield anymore of the Aquiferian, host shield people, but literally on a planetary basis. And it's not just in America, it's across the board. All sorts of different countries, our leadership is being messed with in this way. Bright flowers are activating later, but they activate stronger. So there will be a positive to this, but right now we're going through such a period of transitioning and changing that it looks very chaotic, and it's going to look chaotic for a while. It's like one thing after another of craziness, and this is kind of the new norm, but it's not permanent. So if we can remember the eternally positive context of existence, that this too shall pass, and the truth eternal, the Christ eternal, shall endure. If we can remember that and take heart with that, it won't be so frightening. We've tried not to talk about this for a while, especially the political thing, because who knows when they're going to stop me from talking. Hopefully not anytime soon. But until we had solutions, the Guardians and I did not want to share with you some of this information, because if we don't want to scare people, but we also don't want to, sugarcoat stuff and pretend it's all hunky-dory when it's not, because it's not. But it will get better, but it's going to take time, and we're going to see more of the polarization that's happening. And the fatally love to, they'll even the same version of fatally, be it the red dragons or the green dragons, they will amongst themselves pit each other against themselves just to create fragmentation within groups of people. So just because somebody seems to be opposed to someone else doesn't necessarily mean that one is a red dragon fatally, one's a green dragon fatally. They in their own parties, they like to create conflict and fight, conquer through division, and they go for the weakest on the outside first and work their way toward the core. That's an old strategy, military strategy that humans use on Earth too. That's what's happening here right now. As of 11 of 2016,
Hold on. Before we continue, because that whole time I was listening to her and she was giving game, she was running game. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I forgot to give grace, gratitude, and thanks to the elements: water, earth, fire, and wind, spirit of earth, spirit of water, spirit of fire, spirit of wind, spirit itself, soul itself, Mother Earth, Mother Tara, Mother Sea, Mother Nature, spirit of earth, spirit of Tara, spirit of sea, spirit of nature. Grace, gratitude, and thanks to my higher self, all versions and aspects of myself on all densities and all dimensions in benevolence. Let's get it.
Real crucifixion of Christ. All right? These are axiotonal lines in our body. Now, with that shield mutation that we just saw, it creates very specific blockages of energy lines in the body. It crucified the inner Christ, is what it did, the inner Christ grid. It crucified our ability to run D12 Maharata Christos to activate our flame bodies and our silver sanctum. So the real crucifixion story was about this. And the funny thing is, even historically, the man called Jeshua, the man who was Jesus Christ, did not die on the cross. He was not killed, he ascended. And they didn't tell anybody that because they wanted to build a martyr that people could follow and then think it was okay that they got martyred too. This was what the real crucifixion was about. And it's really sad because we've been literally walking around. The reason the story was done, the palm chakras were messed up. These became the nails in the hands, the blocked chakras in the hands. We lost our ability to run interdimensional frequency through the palms. That used to be natural. We used to be able to wave our hand and manifest things. You could just make a standing wave by doing that and knowing what frequency to pull. Can't do that anymore right now. They were same thing. Feet chakra were blocked. The nails in the feet. The stab wound. There's a whole set of implant networks into here that block the spleen, which is an interface between the etheric body and the flame body levels and your physical anatomy. You have the crown of thorns, and this is about the worst one. The pineal blockages that, see the little dots? They're the ones that are blocked. They blocked literally off those currents out of the brain. Our brains literally shrunk once this was done. The brain size and function, it shut off parts of our brain. That's why science tells us, boy, we don't use very much of our brain right now. No, we don't, because it was shut off at the main switch. What we're doing as we work with healing the templates is we're opening these centers back up. And we're beginning to, now, with the Phoenix Workshop, the new information is, I have a feeling it's going to be really exciting because they're teaching us literally of having to do diagrams of brains, like correct ones, like anatomically correct, where we can see where certain things are in the brain that science doesn't know are there yet, because they're the things we're going to be activating, and you have to see how they interface directly with what parts and glands that science knows is there. But we're taking the crown off, and we're getting down off the cross, and it's about time.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. Shout out ASHAYANA Deane. Here we go with this left ear stuff, man.
One thing I've talked about the word Merkaba quite a lot, and again, it means moving light body, right? And there's specific structures to natural Merkabas and to unnatural Merkabas, right? A basic Merkaba structure, it's called the Biveka Merkaba, which is the smallest form of them, is a star tetrahedron shape, right? If you look at it flat, it looks like a Star of David shape.
Okay.
It's actually known as the Star of Solomon, not David. But yeah, that goes back into the history of Solomon and David and Jesus and stuff.
Yeah, and
We are of the House of
unfortunately we're not going to have
Solomon, not
time
the
for
House
that.
of David. That was Anunnaki. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all right. Anunnaki's fine, but let's just keep the history clear on that one.
Yeah, and I mean, I have some random questions that we can talk about at the very end, so
Okay.
just signal when that might be.
Okay, I'm trying to get that. Actually.
No, it's okay.
You're getting
we got
tired. I
some
don't blame
room.
you. I'm getting
It's
tired
okay.
too.
No, it's all good.
Okay. Now, any of these structures, by the way, if people want to learn more about Merkaba, there's quite a decent section in the Kathara 2-3 manual, the Kathara healing system, but the 2-3, second and third level, we talk about these a lot. But anyway, this is the basic structure of them. And the classic Christic Merkaba will have an electrical top spiral, or at least in this universe, has electrical top spiral. Some of them actually have a magnetic top spiral, not in this universe though. But they'll have an electrical top spiral and a magnetic bottom spiral. The electrical one will spin clockwise and bring electrical energy in, and the magnetic one will spin counterclockwise and bring magnetic energy up and out, right? So yeah, they are, the two cones do not spin in the same direction. All right, that is the big difference between a Death Star Merkaba and a natural Christic Merkaba. The natural Christic Merkaba will always have one of the spirals going in one direction and the other one going in the opposite direction. Whereas with the Death Star Merkaba, they will take one set. They'll tell you you have two Merkaba fields, one Star of David shape and another Star of David shape. You spin the one Star of David shape this way and the other that way. That's That's the same spin spiral set. That is a phase-locked Merkaba. That is a Death Star Merkaba. And they're combining it with the one from the parallel universe to make an unnatural blend between the particles over there and the particles over here to drag you into the Toro with prime rip. Alright? And the ratios are different. A natural Merkaba here at bivector level starts with the electrical going at 33 and a third spin, and it's, what is it, rotations per trillionth of a nanosecond, I believe is what that refers to. And the bottom would be at 11 and 2/3. And there are increments of speed that if you go to the density 2 level of it, it goes up to, you know, the speeds go up.
Okay.
The characteristic one of the Death Star Merkaba is one of the numbers is, I think it's the electrical one, is 34, and they spin it counterclockwise, but the whole thing, right? And the other is 21, which are numbers that are in the Fibonacci sequence. And the Fibonacci sequence is the anti-crystic spiral harness that is meant to harness the natural crystal spiral expansions, which we haven't even gotten into. So, I mean, we have all this, I mean, you can compare this stuff, and it's just a no-brainer when you see it all together. No wonder they didn't want a public discussion. Anyway, so the natural Merkaba structure is that, and it has a specific speeds, it has specific polarity orientations. They call it a fin, right? Because when you're dealing with it, you're not just dealing with two cones. You're dealing with, if you take a three-sided pyramid, right? Two three-sided pyramids, one going this way and one, you know, the point down, one with the point up. So it's a star tetrahedron shape. That would, you know, be this shape. So there are, between male and female genders, there are differences in whether the top fin is pointing forward or the top fin is, you know, going backward and those kind of things. So we've dealt with all of that. We've got the polarity levels of them and all sorts of information on them. But what's most important is understanding, first of all, they exist, right? Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there, and they're part of your natural anatomy. A Merkaba field isn't just a vehicle that you activate so you can go through a stargate. It's an organic part of the circulatory system of the cosmos and of your own interdimensional body. Everything has some form of a Merkaba system. Right? See this a little more clearly.
And their own Christos level until they begin to take measures within their body to open their bodies again to receive the current that goes with the Christos level, which is D12 frequency. D12 and higher. It creates a pillar of frequency in your biofields running through your body and around it that you can walk through anything and be a force of healing and harmonization of everything. But until that point, you have a partial pillar of light that emerges through your DNA, actually, through your body and around your body. But it depends on how far that pillar goes, that pillar called the Antankarana, which is the smaller pillar. It's not the Christos pillar. That pillar can be compromised. From the fallen angelic levels, the fallen angelics exist from dimension 11.5 and down. Some people think that, oh, D4 is the trouble spot, the astral plane, and everything beyond that is higher and better and perfect. It isn't. And this is one of the games that's being run right now in the New Age movement, where people are just so glad that something is talking to them out there, through there. They're not asking who it is. They're accepting stuff like, oh, I'm an ascended master from dimension 5. That's not an ascended master. They're accepting, I am angel this or archangel that, without having any clue as to who the being is, or even thinking that that being might have an ill intention. Why? Because the being's obviously higher than me, so therefore it's better.
Yeah, look, I want to say something. Pardon, if y'all like, if I'm too quiet, I'm locked in. I'm focused. Like when this woman talk, I pay attention. But honestly, I've experienced that not like a while back. You know, I've been on my journey for a year now, and honestly, I've made wonderful progress. Honestly, like I kind of amaze myself. I amaze others around me. But at the same time, I was experiencing this one thing where I would be taken to this place that's like something like Atlantis, and I would have my own little VIP private section meditation spot, and it's beautiful. If I could draw this image out for y'all, listen, you guys would be like, oh my God, that's beautiful. But that's neither here or there. Long story short, I had a golden chair to meditate, but that chair was literally to harvest my energy. And once I debunk that entire situation, I have yet to go there when I meditate and get in my deep meditative states. So definitely be careful what you're engaging in. Be careful in what you indulge in. Be careful what you indulge in. Also protect your energy. That's why we got this gong, this feng shui gong, and we're gonna do one more cycle before the video is over. But we're gonna keep pressing. We're gonna. I mean, we're gonna press play.
Many, many years ago, 560 million years ago, to be exact, almost, we were a race of beings. We did not start on this planet. We did not come from apes. We came from a level of higher evolution. And we had a genetic code that had 12 strands of DNA activated within it. That 12-strand pattern is called the silicate matrix. And the silicate matrix still remains as a dormant potential within the humans of today. That's what these classes are about. We have the abilities within us, if we can understand with the process of DNA evolution and how that applies to our consciousness, if we can understand this process, we can bring those potentials of 12 strands of DNA back into activation.
Correct.
Now, we have 2 identified strands, as far as our scientific community knows. And we attribute things, the genetic characteristics, eye color, hair color, disease sometimes, to genetic factors. There are levels of DNA structure that are even below that. There are base structures of DNA. And when we get into this, we're getting into something called chelantic morphogenetic science. It's the science of morphogenetic fields. Morphogenetic fields are the form-holding blueprints that create grids of electromagnetic energy upon which matter particles can compose themselves to form matter forms. So when we're dealing with our DNA, we are dealing with, we're not in the middle of the fight.
She said nanoparticles, morphogenetic bodies. That's just our morphogenetic chakras. Are y'all paying attention? Are y'all following? Because like, I'm there. I can follow. If you can't follow, that means you're not at the level of conscious yet to follow, man. Up your frequency, up your vibration, up your consciousness, up your awareness, man. Let's do it, man. We are here. We are here. We gotta assist each other. So let's do it, man. Pay attention, take notes if you got to, rerun this video if you got to. Oh, I ain't forget. Like, comment, share, subscribe.
The fight that's taking place is between the Anunnaki and Wisadek agenda people and the Draconian rebellion people who don't want to do what those fallen angelics are doing. We're in the middle of a fallen angelic fight. Now, if we want to take sides and get ourselves in the middle of it, we can get flattened too. But that's not going to help anything. We're here to hold frequency and to help this planet through. It's going to probably get rather hairy, as we say, rather down to the wire and kind of, well, let's put it this way. It may rock. If it rocks, it's okay as long as it doesn't roll. That's kind of what we're moving toward in the next 10 years. Let it rock, okay? Trying not to have it roll. We have a role to play on the planet. The Azarites have a role to play. The angelic humans, and as many of them can wake up, to be a part of it. It's not to get embroiled in the drama. It's not to get stuck in the middle of the drama of everybody fighting over whose God's going to be the best God down here. It's like, let them do that if they need to. But the option that everybody needs is this place needs to be protected. There are certain things that we can help the planetary grids with directly. And we can actually help the others too. They're making choices. They're making choices to stay in alignment with Phantom. They're making choices of war over peace. And they're making choices of hatred over love. And they're making choices to say, because I call my God Jehovah, or I call my God Apollo, or whoever you call your God, that gives me the right to treat you like crap.
No.
It gives me the right to tell you your guys are bad, and therefore I can punish you on behalf of my God. This is the nonsense that's going on. It's like if people could just realize we're all out of the same God, and that God doesn't have one name. It is a one God, but it has many names and no names all at the same time. If they could remember it's the Spirit that lives and breathes through us that is our direct connection to that God, and get rid of their hierarchies of people that stand between you and God, then people could start to find their power, they could start to find their love, and they could start to get along. But there are races that are not ready to do that on this planet, nor are there motivators from behind. So really, what it means to be a Nazarite means to be a very powerful spectator. Because we can't stop that drama that's going to take place. They've made their decisions.
Yo, man, listen, let's give her a fancy round of applause. Because listen, man. Woo!
There are 3 paths, basically, that exist. Doesn't matter what religion you adopt. They're going to lead you to one of 3 paths. One is the It's the path of true ascension. It's the path of eternal life. It's the path of the founders and the God worlds, where you know the secrets of the universe, because you remember you were created as a guardian race that was supposed to know that. Or you can have the path of the Weesadex, where externalized creator gods will control your destiny for you for about 2 billion years of evolution.
Man.
And you can worship them and sacrifice things to them and praise them and pray to them to fix your life for the next 2 billion years. That makes you happy, all power to you. Hopefully, if you choose that path, you can at least respect others who don't. That usually doesn't come with that package, though. Unfortunately, usually judgment, harsh judgment does. But that's their issue. The people who choose the path of freedom don't have to let that bother you anymore. You need to ask yourself, whose problem is this? They're judging me. They think I'm horrible because I have these weird ideas compared to theirs. Well, think about the ideas they're holding. Who's weird here? I mean, fine, I'm weird to you. Well, you're pretty weird to me, too. But at least I have some manners and I can love you anyway. You know?
I wish I could clap louder, man. She be talking, man. I love this lady.
Magnitude of what we're in the middle of. Part of understanding that magnitude and of the reality of what's happening now, seeming real, is realizing the history that it has come out of. We have been, as we talked about before, progressively under an invasion on this planet. It began in full with the creation of the Leviathan races in the Atlantean period, where we talked about Thoth and how he was put in charge of a bioregenesis experiment and how he defected from the Emerald Covenant. Talked about Enoch defecting from the Emerald Covenant and taking the groups of his Leviathan races into negative agendas. Now, there's a significance of what's called the Atlantean king lines here, because there's something happening in the contemporary times. And if you follow, some people are aware of, some aren't, of some of the other contemporary New Age movements, people that are out there right now that are channeling so-and-so and so-and-so, there's a big movement about the awakening of the Atlantean masters, as if this were a good thing. This is not a good thing. This has to do with our shadow selves, first of all, that part of ourselves that has the Metatronic coding, which allows a part of our own reversed DNA template to be attached to by beings from the Weesadex matrix.
Oh, good.
What's happening with the awakening of the Atlantean masters are the people who ended up with the with a certain level of Metatronic coding in Atlantis because of the fire sword initiations are now being put under full body possession, which means they're coming in to take over their bodies because they're coming here. We're looking for an invasion with spaceships coming in.
Protect your energy, Haven. You hear that? You heard that? And we seen a couple things on this channel where people are y'all following, bro? Come on, bro.
In from other planets. That's not the way the invasion is taking place. It's not the way it was ever even planned to take place. What is happening right here and what we're in the middle of took place on a planet, what was a planet in density 2 called Procyon. And they literally wiped out the entire Ceres races that were there. They were a guardian Seraphi race. They literally wiped them out from within, just as they have progressively done here with transposition of race identity. It's transposition of cultural identity, transposition of radial body programming on a planetary level, and most significantly transposition of DNA template through progressive hybridization. This is what has gotten us to the point where we are today. We're in the middle of watching a New Age movement. Some people pay attention to it and some people don't. But we are watching, and for the last 20 years we have been watching, progressively these Atlantean masters from the Weesadex matrix and some of the competing ones from the Phantom matrix that are fighting with them but are still trying to get the planet and its people in the Phantom matrix. We have been watching them go to sacred sites with these wonderful rituals. They do rattles and they do all sorts of ancient sacred ceremonies like we do, but they're different than the ones we do, because what they've been doing for the last 20 years is putting either the Metatronic codes or the Phantom Matrix reverse codes into the planetary grids at the sacred sites that they knew were sacred because they were sacred since Atlantis. Now, we're in the end leg of the journey that really began in Atlantis. We are at the point where certain events are going to begin to be more and more obvious to us. At the end of this workshop, Ma'a is going to explain more about what that might look like. And before we do that, we're going to go through a bit more of what has taken place, how we got where we are, because there's still a beloved but dangerous level of innocence, even among the people who consider themselves interested in the Azurite work. The magnitude of what we're involved in still hasn't sunk in for a lot of people. This isn't a couple of negative groups got involved and did some things with our holy books. This has been across the board since Atlantis. Every bit of spiritual teachings have been tampered with, have been taken and used as control dogmas to mind control us to get us to this point in history. There are still people among us that like to look into other things and say, oh, maybe I'll try this meditation from that group. Maybe these are a good group. It's very sad to recognize, but it's important if you want to be able to hold your integrity in this period, that at this point in time, all of the texts have a little bit of sacred left, because originally they were all part of the 12 sets of teachings that were from the Emerald Covenant, that were the CDD plate teachings that were given to the 12 tribes. All of the holy teachings on this planet were originally from the CDD plates, and they were translations, and each one, there were 12 different languages that they were done in. Each one of the tribes was a guardian of one of those sacred teachings. Pieces of each of those have been taken and muddled up with a bunch of other nonsense to get us to use sound tones, to get us to use prayers, which are
I was really actually gonna say, yo, can that be why they using the frequency to target the young folks, to MK Ultra their mind into vibrating low, and oh, I'm such and such this, I'm on such and such that, and oh, I'm gonna do this to you, and I'm gonna do that to you, and unaliving this, unaliving that. Like, are y'all following Haven? Hit that like, comment, share, subscribe buttons, man. Hit them up.
Commands and sound and scalar wave to get us to begin to give our power away, to externalize God's. And it will help us a lot right now. I mean, we have no attachment. The Iani, the founders races, we don't have an attachment to whether or not you choose to follow the teachings that we bring through. We will bring these teachings through whether 1 million people listen or whether nobody listens, because it's the fulfillment of a promise that we would bring back the original planetary members.
Shout out to the Emerald Covenant, man. Shout out to the Emerald Covenant. You hear that? Yo, we don't care if nobody listening. We still bringing that knowledge through. We still bringing that knowledge back. I don't care who listening, who not. We bringing it back because we said we was going to bring it back. Come on, man.
Banks. That's what speakers do. The three of us have been speakers before. I have been, as has Ben, and so has Mac. We have been speakers before, and sometimes being a speaker has nothing to do with writing books, and has nothing to do with even speaking to another human being. A speaker is a being who runs the frequency into the planetary grids through the DNA and puts the original cellular memory back into the planet that was here to begin with, runs the divine blueprint. Now, in this time frame, it's a little easier than it has been in others. We actually have almost enough time to write books, almost enough time to get it translated into a written form. There were times when it was not allowed in a written form because it would immediately fall into the hands of the Leviathan forces and the fallen ETs that guided them, fallen angelics, and they would take the knowledge and abuse it in ways to advance their own cause. At this point in time, the reason we're allowed to put it in writing, to speak it to anybody and everybody, is because it's too late to worry about that. They've already got it. They've been able to accrue pieces of the sacred teachings of grid mechanics, the Templar quest things, the sacred sciences. They know enough of it by now that even if they get some of the things that are coming in on security clearance now, it's not going to make a difference in the outcome. So it's kind of like you get to a certain point where, well, ideally things go a certain way and you don't have to reveal all of this material. You keep it under protection for, so it doesn't get further abused. But if you get to a certain point where it's going to turn into a mess anyway, then you just give the teachings wherever, whenever, because whoever can grasp as much of them as possible will be the people who might be left standing. And I'm not into fear-based stuff. And I told the Guardians a while back.
Hold on. She said who might be left standing, bro.
For, so it doesn't get further abused. But if you get to a certain point where it's going to turn into a mess anyway, then you just give the teachings wherever, whenever, because whoever can grasp as much of them as possible will be the people who might be left standing. And I'm not into fear-based stuff. And I told the Guardians a while back, this is part of my growing up, that if you ever get into talking about pole shift and that kind of stuff, I quit. I'm not going to be a doom and gloom person. I'm not into that stuff, because you have a lot of channels out there, doing all that kind of thing. And they said, well, we're about the, furthest away from doom and gloom as you can get. We'll show you what's taking place and what needs to be done to prevent doom and gloom. That's what their stance has been all along. This has been hard for me to get to the point where, we're on Plan B, and I've had to deal with that and have to continue, and my choice of whether I would continue to speak about it or just go, oh no, I'll deal with it personally. But to have to teach people about this, it isn't fun. Plan A was a great plan. It was come in, get the D12 frequency activated back here, get the planetary grids up to a high enough resonance where all these nasty technologies that have been put in here since Atlantis couldn't activate. If we were successful in doing that in time, Plan B wouldn't have happened. We would not have had the potential issues involving pole shift. We would not have had a lot of things that are going to happen. The problem is we were not able to get the planetary grids up to speed fast enough. It was a long shot anyway. Plan A was a long shot. Plan B was always the contingency plan. They didn't tell me about Plan B because they figured when I was in my first 10 years of waking up, I probably would have said, forget it, I'm not going to teach any of it. I'll write books, and then after I'm dead, people can read them. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's easier. If they have an issue with it, they have an issue with the book, but you're gone, and you don't have to deal with people throwing stuff at you. Ever since we began to speak, even when we weren't talking about the scary stuff, or we weren't being the cosmic whistleblowers on the ones who were running con jobs, the negativity that was thrown in my direction sometimes was absolutely awful. It was meant to intimidate me. It was meant to make me shut up. But there was a point where it almost did. And then I got mad. I said, I don't care. I have no attachment. Let them hate me. But if any one of them in the audience will listen, I'm going to keep talking. That's why I'm here. And that's why Az is here. And that's why Mac is here. We all have that same, oh, heck. So they might not like us. We're not here to win a popularity contest. We're here to tell the truth, whether anybody wants to hear it or not.
I like that.
Our DNA can vibrate because of our ability to hold the extremes of emotion inside of us. Our DNA can vibrate at such a frequency, a high frequency. We can hold so much energy that we can literally take our experiences from here and part of our physicality into the fifth plane, fifth density. Now, when this happens, we radically will change what they know. Okay, this is why when people say, well, geez, Alex, why don't they just intervene? There's more to that than you think, because when they come down here and they commingle with us, it not only changes our reality, it changes their reality. And a little piece of us goes back with them. Now, if most of you, let's just, for example, we're from Andromeda, okay? You all evolve, you all lift up, you all move into fifth density, and then you decide, I'm going home. And you're off. And we all march into Andromeda together. Their civilization, their reality will never be the same. And this is why many of the races, particularly the benevolents, are coming back, because they want a heads up. They want to know what to expect. They want to know who we are. Do you follow what I'm trying to say? Okay, now the negatives, they've got everything really nice where they live. They got everything under control, and they have their caste systems. All right? They don't want us walking in there. Let's say some of you are from Orion. They don't want you going in there and wreaking havoc. Start teaching them about free will, about freedom. They don't want that. Okay, just because they're at another level doesn't mean they're that all evolved. There's still crap there too.
Right.
Okay? And they have a vested interest in control systems, control factors. And they don't want anybody rocking the cart, especially a race that they consider to be beasts. You know, and what's really interesting is they created their own undoing. They really did. By tinkering and everything else.
Right.
And all it would take would be one of you to go in there and change one of these systems. Just your frequency alone.
Nice.
So you truly are royalty. You know, you guys are just awesome. And the war is about that. The war that's coming is literally because there are benevolent races that want our experience. They want our DNA. They want our emotions. They want us to be teachers. Because many of the benevolent races have lost their passion, folks. They've lost their passion. You know, for the Greys themselves, they thought that emotion was a weakness. So they literally bred it out. And now they're dying. Okay? They're dying and they're totally stuck on technology. Their children, they're not having children anymore. Because there's no passion in the body. The spirit cannot attach to the physical form. And there are other races like this. There are other races, and I was told by Morane that the Pleiadians in 982 years in our linear time would start showing genetic breakdown because of so much interbreeding within the one race. Okay? We offer a booster to that because we have their genetics, you know, as well as others, but we also have the passion. You know, the ability to hold passion, which is an awesome creative force. So there's some that really want us to be there, and there are some that are terrified of us being there.
Right.
And that's really what it's about. The effects of what's going on here between now and 2013 are long-term. Apparently, almost 400 years into our future, there's tyranny. So what happens here is a major consequence because of who we are. And whatever we do here on third density, moving into fifth density, we will literally change 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It'll have a domino effect all the way up. Because apparently that's where we originally came from before we moved into physicality here. So we have to be responsible. There's a much bigger agenda here in picture. And I'm sure that there's even more that I don't know that maybe another contactee in the future or somebody else has already said. You know, you have to be private investigators. You've got to be detectives. And I know that there's so much information out there and so much junk and there's so much great stuff out there. But you're literally going to have to weed it through yourselves. No one has all the answers.
Right.
No one. There might be some that have more of the pieces of the puzzle. But the bottom line is, every single one of you in this room, even the people outside the room who aren't here sharing this, who have no clue, who still think ET is a joke, they have a piece of the puzzle. They just may not be able to bring their piece to the puzzle when we move into fifth density or plane.
Hey, yo, that's it, Haven. End of the presentation. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I sure enough did. It was very insightful, very enlightening, all of that in a nutshell. But listen, if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Whatever form and fashion, do it. Hey, you feel me? If you've been here from the beginning, I send deep divine abundance, balance, harmony, love, prosperity, strength, and unity. You know what's up, Haven. If you ever sowed a seed with me, may it be returned thousandfold. Before we get out of here, let's clear the energy. Let's clear the energy. Let's clear the energy. Hey, yo, TY, I mean, TYJ Plumbing, you know what's up. Let's clear the energy. Love and unity, Haven. I'm out of here.
I'm out of space, I'm flawless. I'm no slowing down, let's speed it. Taking off from